So yeah, good morning, Joe. I just completed my reading session for the meditations book, Marcus Aurelius, right? So I'm still reading that prologue or something, and it's very interesting though to read. So I'll say that it's basically filled with like random information that I basically don't need. Talking about, but it's basically showing you different phases of different areas of Marcus Aurelius, right? Talking about the different schools of Stoicism. And discovered that Stoicism is a school of thought that is I was well thought out. What that means is they had debates, they had remodifications, unlike religions, religions that someone just says I was inspired by God. Obviously, they'll check whether it's coherent with the current scriptures. But again, a lot of things were agreed by what a very few committee. When you look at the Stoic philosophy, right, you see how different things came together to make sure that everything happens in a coherent manner, basically. So that's something that I discovered. Then something again that caught my attention, right? That catches my attention every time I see things that are philosophical or spiritual at the same time. It's about how the Stoics, right? They held a strong belief that everything that happens in the universe, right, is coherent and providential and serves some purpose in nature's grand design. What that means is that everything that happens for a purpose. And ironically, before I picked up this book, I was thinking of reading the Almanac of Naval Ravikant, which I think will be my next because I don't believe in buying more books. I believe in going down on books that I find to be much more either interesting or appealing, or because books like this are books that when you keep reading, you see parts that I never saw before. So yesterday when I was going over the books, like I was just flipping the pages, I saw something that it says that the best people in the game are the people who rise above good and bad. You see, when you're able to take your thinking above good and bad, you begin to think of what role does this play in the grand scheme of things. Perfect. And it's the same thing that came up with Principles by Ray Dalio. And he says, nothing is good, nothing is bad. Everything plays a particular role. Again, speaking of that same particular phrase, right? If now when I'm creating content, that idea kind of like I'll say why it disturbs me sometimes. It's easier to pass a message, right? It's when things are good or bad, it's easier to communicate such information. But deep down, I know that's not true. So, to some extent, I have like some subtle struggles there, right? But obviously, I feel like at some point, I'll get the proper channel of communicating such ideas. Then that's part one. The other part is it's the same thing. I was answering one of my podcast questions when I said one of my views on people is nobody is good, nobody is bad. Everybody just plays a role in society, which is everything I've been saying that nothing is good, nothing is bad, everything plays a role. So if you know the role that you play, it'll be easier and better for you to stick to that role rather than trying to be something you are not. So for example, is looking at some traits and some things that I have that people seem to call bad. I call them bad because people will have them and assume that something's wrong with them. For example, with this ADHD, I think I'm slowly beginning to embrace the idea of ADHD, right? Where I can focus on things I want to focus on, but things I don't want to focus on, I don't give a fuck about. I let them go. I let them go 100% because I'm not built for that. I rather play my deck of cards to my strength. And I feel like this is where a lot of people miss things, right? They will try to play on other people's strength, like try to follow generic advice that doesn't work for them. Even in my content sometimes, right? I try my possible best to tell people that everything has its dynamics. Business has its dynamics because I feel like the businesses of the last 30 years will not be the businesses of the next 30 years. Thanks to what AI. In AI, the advantage is not going to be what's the production. The advantage is going to be the distribution. What that means is influencers have a better chance of building tech products than tech bros building tech products. Does it make sense? I mean, except the tech bros is sitting down loads of cash, but the bottom line is the an audience now. No, it has always been the case where the person who handles the best distribution is always the winner. It's just that AI is making us become aware of it. Look at the best businessmen of all times. It was not really the production, it was the distribution. The only time product was the edge was when the distribution of the competitors was not strong. That's why John D. Rockefeller controlled the distribution. And the moment he discovered that the railway guys that were distributing his things were beginning to control, because whoever controls the distribution controls the market. When he noticed that the railway guys were plotting against his distribution, what did he do? He introduced pipelines. He even, and which sort of even wrecked the railway companies, and then obviously he was able to sweep in and do his thing. Although people call him a beast, but people call him all sorts of names. But I say, look at Rockefeller, right? Look at the oil and gas he produced for the world, right? Even though people may insult him, but he played a role in evolution, right? Because thanks to human greed, I had a thought like 10 minutes ago, right? That capitalism, because I think I was going over how messed up the world is in terms of how they've weaponized, how companies have weaponized porn, weaponized food. Because I was supposed to give a speech on mental health, right? Not really a speech, but an interview on mental health. And in about 2 weeks from now, 2 or 3 weeks from now. And I'm looking for points that people don't speak about, because mental health sometimes, right, it's not really caused by environment. You have environmental factors, but the most important factors that people don't really want to talk about is the diet, the social media, the expectations. Those three things I feel like are a major, not the major, are a major problems when it comes to it. So I'm like, capitalism has sort of pushed our mental health, or the mental health of most people, to the trash, right? At the same time, so capitalism is the destruction of the entire world. At the same time, no. How did I form that thought process? The worst thing to happen to our mental health was capitalism, and the best thing that came out of our human greed was capitalism. So that means at the current moment, we need to find a system that preys on our greed, at the same time benefits our health, which is not capitalism. Even in communist countries, or even in socialist countries like China, they have problems, right? They have problems. They still have problems of what, people weaponizing what, food, because whether they like it or not, whenever you begin to introduce mass production, it sort of degrades, right, mass production to appeal to almost everyone in terms of pricing. It tends to degrade quality of food, and in that process, everything just goes down the hill. So that's my school of thoughts around that. So I don't want to make it political, but like, hey, at some point we have to start calling things out, like food, how people have weaponized. Let me see. What have people not weaponized? What has capitalism not weaponized? Food, sex, obviously drugs. What else? Attention spans. It's crazy. Just feels like I really pity a lot of people who can't zoom out and realize that a lot of things are fucked. When I say fucked, super fucked. But well, this is where we all find what our roots, and then I feel like we should just come together, because the individual is struggling. Yeah, that really reminds me. That's why I think I like Naval African's work, because he will give you a thought process, right? And he will dissect that thought process. And it allows me to further expand on other thought processes in my head. So I think after this book, I'll go to that book and have time to like dissect stuff. Because the whole idea is take a complex idea, right, that will improve someone's life, and dissect it down into something reasonable. So yep, I think let me see. I don't want this to exceed 10 minutes, because if I exceed 10 minutes, I do it 10 minutes in the night, my episodes will keep running into give or take 1 hour ish. So yep, see you later. See, I'm still going to the gym today. I think today should be my last day for like the next 7 days, and let's see how it goes. Okay. Oh boy, this is good. Like, this is real good. I think okay, well, I think I need to get a pair of dumbbells for home use though. A pair of dumbbells. So yes, I was looking at prostate cancer, right? So I heard researchers who intentionally, I feel a lot of researchers, or that the nature of a lot of researchers these days are prone to only show correlation, but not intentionally avoid causation, right? I'll tell you how a couple of men like this are prone to having this kind of illnesses. Okay, what is the cause? It's a question. Why is that? Why is what's causing prostate cancer? Why is prostate cancer a thing? What's going on? Well, I think from my little research, because my dad had prostate cancer, one thing I can say is the is it the is it emancipation of men, right? Is it emancipation of men? In my opinion, is the leading cause of prostate cancer. No, it's an underlying cause of prostate cancer. How is it? Let's say this way, right? A man who has been feminized in beats like he's been, I feel like a lot of men die by 1,000 paper cuts, right? So they have they have slowly killed themselves, right? Because they became yes men. In that process, the woman does not see a need to give him sex, right? She feels dry. She doesn't want to give him her best. And I've been thinking now how and why. I always remember that we are animals first before we are animals who are capable of thinking. So what that means is that if you study animals to some extent, you can tell why human beings behave they behave, right? To some extent. So now, I remember this guy who was arguing with me. And later he came up to me and said that he watched this Nigel Wild series where they had a female lion. They had been trying to get the female lion pregnant, right? So they brought in a male lion, and the female lion never even looked at the male lion at all, like never even looked at her side. So they were probably suspecting that she had some problems, right? Underlying problems. Well, then guess what? Now, you realize that, okay, let them, let them adjust something. So they placed the lion's food on top of a tree before they used to feed the lion. So they placed the lion's food on top of a tree. So the lion having to struggle to get that food. All of a sudden, it became attractive to the female lion. So what that means is the more they make the male lion hunt for his food or work for his food, the better, the more attractive he became. So what that means is the more he stepped into his masculinity as a male lion, into his nature as a male lion, the more he was considered. And when he was out of it, when he was out of his male lion nature, to the problem, right? Because the female lion felt like he wasn't worth it. So now, same thing with men and women, right? Today is a lot of people are slowly dying, right? Because the men are becoming feminine, the women are becoming masculine, and it's like we are tampering with nature, right? So the women are dry, they don't want to have sex with their husbands because they feel like they're not delivering what they're supposed to deliver in that context of things. Okay, so that's my idea behind prostate cancer now. I've also noticed that they have a way of scaring people from doing their own personal research because they tell you things like if you give online advice that turns out to be wrong, you can be sued. Well, guess what? Who gets sued when Big Pharma gives fake research? Who gets sued? I bet most likely nobody does. Okay, so I tell people to learn to think for themselves. It's so crazy that society doesn't want people thinking for themselves because they literally have fought people who won't think for themselves. They have killed people who told people to think for themselves. That's crazy. Socrates was killed because he was basically telling the youth to think for themselves. So let's go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ah, shit. Hey.
So a thought process came to my head now is like, what the fuck am I really doing? And I feel like all these self doubts, they come at random moments, but they're also important, right?
Your motivational speaker shouldn't lie to you that you're not important. They play a role. But I have like very big dreams. And I'm asking myself, how does creating content aid in that dream? And well, I'm having a thought process that also says that in an age of AI, right, the edge is obviously in the distribution, in the humanity of things, in people being relatable, in people being able to tell stories that connect over products that sell. Let me try to go 20, that's 10. I'm planning this on the spot. I'll go 20, 10 reps of each. Okay, so it's going to go like two stretches first. No. Okay. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so obviously back to the gym. Hold on, let me turn on my. Let me just turn on my LED lights because I have some sort of natural light coming in. So, like I said, today I want to shoot short form content that is not reaction videos. Basically, me giving tips, right? Yeah, I'm looking for plain A4 paper. Hold on, I'm supposed to have papers lying around. Ah, shit, man. Yeah, I think I do. Yeah, so I always do. If I want to use, so the couple of things I want to do now is to get the ideas right. Like I said, I want to. One of my goals of content is to be able to create content with enough charisma that I don't need other editing. But something is bugging my mind. I think let me just maybe say it out. So there was a fight, right? And one of the I'm speaking of MMA. One of the instructors told us to register for the fight, right? Now, to be very, very honest, I feel like a part of me felt like I wasn't ready for the fight because what I've been fighting for what training for how many months, give or take 3 months. So I figured that well, that may not be wise, right, for a professional fight. But he told me to give it a try regardless. Then when I asked for the link, I was then told that it was one person per fight club or something, which I saw no problem with, right? I saw no problem with. But now I'm seeing two people. So first of all, when I was not told, and I was first of all, I found it pissed that they told me to register, knowing fully well that they knew who they had chosen in mind. But obviously, the guy has been training for years, and I give it to them because that was a wise thing to do. But the other part that hits me hard is okay, fine, you chose somebody, you did not tell us that you had chosen somebody already. You still gave us the link, right? You gave us the link after the person had registered. Fine, no problem. You told us one person. Now all of a sudden, there are two people from the group in that list, and I'm like, hold on, hold on. It's beginning to sound like fine. Say it in my face. Like, do you think it's going to hurt my ego that I'm training for 3 months and I'm probably going to fight people that have been training for years? It makes no sense. It's, see what it is, and let me know what it is. So I'm just like, you know what? Things like this make you pause and evaluate what the fuck you are doing, right? So I ask myself, what the fuck am I doing? I want to learn how to fight. I'm not entirely sure. The only reason I want to go into a ring is because to test whether I have upped my mental strength or not. Learning how to fight is not about whether I win or I lose. At least that courage to step into the field is an uncomfortable choice that 90% of the men can't make. 90%. So stepping into that ring alone is a different ball game, whether you win or you lose. 1-2. At least if I get a decent beating out of the person, right? If I beat the other person, to some extent, it means that at least I've gotten some basics right. And then, obviously. So it's just making me rethink a lot of things. Like, so I'm thinking, you know what? I'm not entirely sure I can go pro. I may want to go amateur, like I said. Learning how to fight for learning's sake is a good waste of time because you most likely will never use it, or you most likely can never tell if you're really good. So I think I'll go for amateur fight. At least that one is pretty safe. You're geared up and everything. Even for boxing, amateur, right? But now I'm thinking of just switching to boxing, staying with boxing and Krav Maga, right? Boxing and Krav Maga. And I remember this instructor that came around, right? Who I saw that he was wearing the Krav Maga shirts. I'll hit him up because he's doing Aikido, Karate, and Krav Maga, right? I think I'll just look at him and let me just know what it's going to entail for him to be my coach and all that. So me leaving these guys, I may stay with them because Chono Kwan was the precursor to Taekwondo, right? So that means Chono Kwan came in before Taekwondo. Taekwondo was like, try to say a rebirth, but Taekwondo became more mainstream than Chono Kwan. But it's not about the best martial art; it's about the fighter himself. It boils down to the fighter because you have seen boxers beat MMA guys who had their legs, right? You see beat MMA guys. So it all boils down to different things, right? But I've noticed that the best fighters are always calm, regardless. So being able to stay calm when you're in the ring is a different ball game. So let me just look at my book at the kind of content I think I saw the other day, right? So it's about turning one piece of content, one idea into quite a number of short form ideas, right? So unscripted, I will only script my hooks, right? Because I'm trying to see how to turn some things into. Most men are dying inside. Most young men are killing themselves inside. Why? Because they try to solve internal problems with external solutions. You see people that say, you know what, I don't feel comfortable, I don't feel confident yet, but when I get a car to pose, then I'll feel confident. Okay, I'm feeling I don't have anything happening in my life, right? But you know what? Maybe I can distract myself so that tomorrow I may find something to do. But the honest truth is that it's an internal problem that's eating you on the inside. If you keep using external solutions, at some point things will only get worse on the inside. So fix internal problems before, or stop using your external problems like materialistic stuff to compensate for your character. So I'll start with how men are dying inside slowly, but most are using material things to mask it. I'll start with maybe suicide rates in men is rising, or more men are killing themselves. Because let's be honest, negative hooks sell more. So the third thing I'll go for now is the story of the alchemist. The story of how I saw a couple of kittens. The kittens were coming to me, right? Or someone running away. And it dawned on me that in Nigeria, we are afraid of cats. But cats are afraid of us. So at some point, it means that somebody is mad somewhere. It's not the cats. Cats are animals. I'm the thinking person. Then it dawned on me that is the same way girls are doing a lot to attract guys. And guys are thinking too much and are thinking too much and afraid of rejection just because she's pretty. So guess what? While I was walking back home, I saw this very attractive girl. I told myself, she's doing all that, so I can approach her. So I approached her. Her name was Chizoba. I was like, hey, hi, I see you are walking around. How you doing? And just went, it's like, that was all. Hi, I see you walking around. How are you doing? And she said, oh yeah, she sees me too. And we spoke, we walked together in parted ways. I asked for her number. She said no. And I'm like, hey, that's good. At least I did what most people can do. Approach them. Cold approach when she's taking a walk. So the next day, I think I approached 3 women. I think I approached 3 women, but I don't think that's what I should bring up. But the whole idea was that Chizoba didn't give me a number, but the whole point was getting better at talking to them. Overcoming the fear. That's a very nice one though, because a lot of Nigerians, I think I should put the word pussy. Yeah, think about it, because it's actually a pussy cat. Not like the slang. But I don't know if social media will allow it, but it's like Um, so I literally overcame the fear of talking to girls. How a pussycat made me stop being a pussy. How a pussy made me stop being a pussy. So I can talk to pussies. So how a pussy stop me from being a pussy so I can get more pussy. Pussy, pussy, meow, pussy, pussy, meow. No, that'd be too vague. I just feel like that's too extreme. Take time out to think. This is the most important. So I'll say I saved the best tip for the last, right? Because people almost never take out time to like sit down and think for themselves. I think after today, Saturday, I'll brainstorm pictures, right? Because I barely post pictures and I want to start posting pictures. So I'll start posting pictures on image-based carousels, right? Um, Let me see. Did I promise to do? I think I also promised to do. So which myth would I like to debunk? So how does one negotiate it himself? You negotiate it yourself in a way that. So okay, no, I'm giving. Let me look for a perfect analogy for how you should negotiate it yourself. So for example, now is I consume soda time to time, right? So how do I negotiate with myself to consume soda? I can say, okay, fine. I can only consume soda once or twice a month. Anything beyond that is not is out of it, right? So that means is I'm not being too strict on myself, and that is how I think that is how it's safe to moderate things. So if maybe I've not played video games in a while, maybe for example is watching movies, right? I can say, you know what, I work hard during the week and I watch movies over the weekends, over the breaks, right? That's me negotiating with myself. If not, I'll force myself. I'll force myself. Like after the years, guess what? It's going to backfire. That is the major reason people like Sam Ovens, they will follow self-improvement advice, but at some point they give up because they don't realize that we live in a world where if you repress some things, right? If you repress some things, they bounce back. So I tell people you have two options. It's either you kill the desires for those things, or you find a way to not navigate, to negotiate with it basically. You find a way to negotiate with it basically. So that's the point. So let me just go ahead and get my bullet points in place. That's 10 videos. Okay, if I'm doing 10 videos, that's 30 videos. And to do 10 reaction videos, that's enough. That's decent. So we'll be experimenting with our video editing style too, and let's see how it goes basically. I think lights basically. I don't want like excessive editing and all of that. So basically, I just feel like, yeah, well, what was like happening? I mean, so the president's wife went to a school for nursing students who were graduating, and they basically shamed her or something. And then I feel like these are used for exuberance, right? And then you're not supposed to do that, but it's life. So I think the person who's at fault here is the MC, right? So come on, see like what's showing here? I just want like.
What's showing?
Yeah, hold on.
You want to?
So after watching this video, it makes perfect sense that the person who is at fault here is the MC, obviously. As an MC, you are the one who controls the event. You introduce the first lady, you know fully well that the full country is not in a happy mood, talking of even wanting to see the first lady in the first place. Then you thought it was wise to obviously make a song to praise her, which is okay, you're doing your job, it makes sense to do your job. But as an MC, you're supposed to read the language of the room, knowing fully well that those people don't want the first lady there in the first place. You sang a song, they gave a response that did not go well with what was planned. As an MC, you were supposed to adapt basically and say, you know what, okay, this song is not working, let's switch this song. But instead, you kept on saying it over and over again so that other people would hear. I think it's because I left uni not so many years ago, but I know what we do when we are behind the crowd. We are basically playing, having fun, and the moment you enable that play, it becomes an insult. So I would say the MC is fully at fault. Because those people were just doing whatever they were doing because they were youths, they were happy. No, they were youths, they were graduating, and they did not know much. But another thing now is that the school is threatening
they have to expel or suspend this lady, and it doesn't make sense because they're just doing their thing. Maybe they're doing it because they want to please the first lady, but trust me, I don't think she really cares. So there's really no point trying to prove yourself. They're just doing what you do, and then just please forgive her because everybody will be fine last. After watching this video, I heard that the school is basically threatening this lady because she posted a video online. Now that is very, very stupid, but I'll get back to that very soon. Now the person who made a very big mistake in that event is the MC. As an MC, you're supposed to be the one who controls the event. You know that the country is not happy with whatever is happening around, and they are blaming the president. Now you're bringing somebody they don't want to see. Quite alright. And you sang a song to welcome her, which is obviously you think you're doing a good job. Now the students or the nurses were responding in a way that was supposed to tell you, that was supposed to give you common sense and say, okay, fine, this music is not rhyming with what I'm singing, but no, you kept on singing it over and over again, saying, now your mama be this, and they were telling you, no, now your own mama. Common sense, stop the song. Maybe because they're already standing, so if they're standing already enough, clap for her, let her sit down. You do not need to stress that song, because when you stress the song, the nurses kept on stressing the insults, or rather the chants. Wait, but by the way, it just seems like some people are not really meant to be on stage. I mean, look at Sheyi Tinubu a couple of weeks ago. Look at the first lady a couple of weeks ago. I really feel like the country is not really in a happy mood, and I feel like it's going to be a long one because these guys, they still need to come out regardless and address the country. I don't know. That last part was not really what it is. What's your recording?
So the recording, but you stop.
Okay. Okay, so after watching that video, I heard that the school is going after the woman or the lady who made that video. So let me guess, they're probably threatening her the same way the NYC was threatening the other lady. At this point, people need to begin to use their senses, right? Now, the person who I blame in that event is the MC. As an MC, you are supposed to use common sense to realize that whatever you are doing is not working. You are bringing somebody on stage. You are announcing somebody's presence, right, with a song, quite alright. Now, look, you are singing a song, the audience was responding in a way that was common sense to tell you that the person you are introducing is being insulted. But you continued. It's almost like you wanted the person that you were welcoming on stage to feel insulted. At this point, it's common sense, right? The country is not happy the way it is. The full country is not happy. Now you're bringing the first lady, singing and telling them that it's your mama. And again, Delta State, do you know how stubborn people are in Delta State? Talking of students who are just graduating. At this point, sometimes when you have to use your common sense as an MC, as a man, and realize that, you can't just. But basically, I heard that the school is basically trying to punish this lady for uploading that video, and I really feel like it would be a bigger insult to do that, right? Because the country right now is in a state where such kind of things will just lead to what? Potential protest, and I don't think the school wants it. So, guys out there, I feel like it's the MC's fault. They should just free the girl, because the moment they stop really threatening the girl, people will forget the event. They may bring it back during the next election, but until then, they should just free the girl. She's innocent, I think. How long? Check how long is that?
1:50.
1:15. I'll take it to 90 max.
90.
I'll take it to 90, just 1 minute 30 seconds. What time to achieve? So after watching this video, I heard that the school is currently threatening the woman who recorded this video. So what that means is that to them the event was not a problem, but people saying the event was a problem. Let's put it aside. After watching the video, the person I blame is the person who was singing the song at the stage. I don't know if it's the MC or a particular band or something, but common sense should have told you that, one, the country is not happy with the president and the first lady and the president's family. Quite alright. Now, you sang a song which was okay in terms of vibe, but the students or the audience, they responded in a manner that was very, very disrespectful. You're supposed to use your common sense to say, you know what, this song is not working. Look for a way to switch it up, or at most change it to a standing ovation. But no, you chose to keep riding, now your mama be this one, and guess what? They're telling you that it is your own mother. At some point, you should have cut it. So I really feel like these nurses were just doing things that were useful. Again, they're already raged, so you can't stop their rage. They're doing things that were what? Useful, as you know. Useful exuberance, or whatever that language is. But basically, I really feel like videos like this, with changing going what? The other day making a video, and the first lady now, don't worry. Just think of the amount of compilation the country is going to have very soon by next election.